Alright guys, Scrappy again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Some strong words being exchanged ahead of the OpTic Legacy match in a couple of days' time after Envoy said that OpTic Legacy are going to have no problem at all with the new guns on the throwback game in Call of Duty Ghost. Dashy says just because they played at the time does not mean they're going to be able to compete with the brand new OpTic roster. Who's going to come out on top? Pretty difficult to call. Fairmont and Twitter, your perspective in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. XDefiant are actually doing something, by the way. They're doing another kind of public test session. I imagine the reason why they're doing this is just because, for whatever reason, they can't launch the game. It's a bit of a nightmare for them. They're working through various things, waiting for approvals. I don't know. They've definitely fumbled the bag on this one, I'm not going to lie, because the beta for the COD is basically now, in a week or so, and after that, the game releases. So, XDefiant doesn't have much runway. They said it was going to release in the summer. They've kind of bottled it. I think technically, are we in, like, the fall or autumn now, whatever. So, regardless, they're doing on this Thursday, so this is tomorrow, from these dates, I believe only on PC, an additional public test session, kind of like the beta, I guess. So I guess this is trying to help them actually get the release sooner, but I imagine that they wouldn't necessarily have to be doing this if they were to have released the game. There's been some different perceptions though, because as Parasite says, they're actually putting these servers live to test changes, you know, get improvements for feedback and stuff, which is good. And to be fair, it would be nice if at times COD did a bit more of this, because the beta is just a test, really. I mean, it is the same game you get in the full release. I know the pros would really love to be involved earlier in the development process, as Aches and stuff have been in this case. But in this particular instance, I know they're testing other stuff, but probably the game would be launched by now if it could. But there is that going on. I think you guys can preload it if you want to give it a go on PC tomorrow. There was also this, that Jacob Hale got an update from Esports Awards that he has indeed been included in the Journalist of the Year nomination. So I thought this was good to see because, as I said the other day, yes, JCal leaks the rosters, but it's not just that. The reporting is done behind the scenes on the YouTube deal and on the CDL locations, and all this type of stuff has been very valuable to the scene, and it's good to see that, well, rewarded by the Esports Awards, although, you know, all these award ceremonies are a little bit bogus in some respects, but I thought it was worthy of mention nonetheless. Also, I did say last night about the Zuma Cold War Throwback Tournament coming up soon, and I was like, well, whoever aBeZy's playing with, they should be a potential candidate to win. But I thought that aBeZy was maybe back at home, but he's not. He's on a cruise ship right now with you know, with Ashley and Ghosty and JurNii. So building some chem here with JurNii and Ghosty, of course, ahead of the new season. So good stuff, and I'm not exactly sure what the plan's going to be when they get back, whether they can do the tournament. I guess we'll see on that one. Now, some teams still have to build their rosters. I do also wonder about this tweet here from Team War, because they tweet this out, and I don't imagine there's anything really in this, but I thought that we've got to talk about it. No way you got a CDL spot for half the fee. So, look, there's many organizations that have wanted to get involved in the CDL for years. I know that we've talked about Rise Nation every so often, an organization that was involved back in the OG days, had some great success. Franchising came around, they couldn't really cut it. Same as United, right? They just couldn't get a spot, didn't have the funding, and you can't blame them because, let's be honest, should they have put 25 million in, even if they could get 25 million from investors? Probably not. And 100 Thieves came to this agreement as well, that they weren't going to come in until year 2, when they did eventually come in as Los Angeles Thieves. But still, you know, could we potentially see a situation like this with the new ownership group coming in? Are there still some billionaires, multi-millionaires out there willing to put money into these franchise leagues? Maybe. So, you know, I don't know what the future holds on this one, but Team War, they've been around the challenger scene for a long time. I'm sure they would like to be involved in the CDL, as have Rise Nation said that plenty of times, but they'd need to get some funding to do so. We also do know that some organizations, such as the Los Angeles Guerrillas, do want out. I mean, it's quite clear from the Cronky Sports and Entertainment Group, they want out of esports. The Guard rejected their opportunity to go and compete in the Valorant franchise league. It's been pretty clear that they will take that like $6 million or whatever it is that Activision will give them just to basically shut down the Overwatch League and stop with the LA Gladiators. I'm sure they want to do the same thing for the Los Angeles Guerrillas. If they are still forced to run that team for another year with the minimums, I guess they'll do it. But at some point, Guerrillas will want to sell up, shut up shop, and get out of it. That seems to be the, what Cronky Sports and Entertainment are doing right now. So, is it possible for another organization to come in and buy that spot for a massive discount? Quite possibly, yes. And I think Guerrillas would take some money they can get just to get out of here. That seems to be the MO right now of Cronky's opinion on esports in general, and maybe you can't blame him after he got, sold this incredible PowerPoint presentation by Bobby Kotick a few years ago. In addition to that, we have no rumours at all as to what Guerrillas are up to. I expected they might have been one of the first teams to move, but of the 3 remaining, Vegas, London, Guerrillas, there's nothing from Guerrillas. We heard some rumours, Clay and Attach plus a couple, and that made sense. But you got to understand that if there's any team that probably wants out more than any, it's quite possibly Guerrillas. Now, if you are a team like Team War or Rise Nation and you've managed to talk to some investors and get some funding to pay Los Angeles Guerrillas, 10 mil to take the spot off their hands, is that actually a good spend of 10 mil? Still probably not, especially with the league being in a very uncertain spot going forwards. But interesting to note at the very least that, the future of LA Guerrillas especially is very much up in the air right now. There was also this that JKL pointed out, the brand new team skins for the Halo World Championship. I just wish they'd do stuff like this more in COD. They do some things, but in the last few years, mainly it's the developers that make them. Now, finally last year, we actually got to see some designs that had been made by designers of the teams themselves. And we see here, like, the Cloud9 one, the Space Station one's pretty nice, the OpTic one, the FaZe one especially is absolutely fire. So, yeah, lots of cool stuff here. And it just seems like such a no-brainer to get the teams and the designers for the teams to make stuff like this, get them in the game in time, especially before a big COD tournament such as the World Championship, just like Halo are doing, and then do some crowdfunding, though. Take some of the money from this. Either it goes to the prize pool or it just goes straight to the teams, because that's what they do in Valorant when they have the Champions bundle. And that money that is generated, 50% of it goes to Riot's pockets, which are pretty fat, and Activision could do the same thing. 50% of it then goes to the teams, and those teams are meant to give probably 50% of that down to the players, which sounds like it's cutting it in half each time, which it is, but when they're making $60 million in skin sales, it's actually pretty significant for the players at the end of the day. Now, it wouldn't maybe be the same numbers here in COD, but still, it could be pretty spectacular. To at least try something like this at some point would be a good idea. And look, this is Halo. Microsoft are getting involved in this stuff. You'd think that when they come into COD, we could have something similar at some point in the future, at the very least. Now, a lot of the guys, the Dashy especially, back in Texas now, ahead of this OpTic Legacy match in the coming days. We also got some teasers for this. Seems like they've got some sort of special jersey going on here, actually, because I think these appeared on Snapchat. Actually, yeah, this is Snapchat, right? Because, I don't know, like, Snapchat seems to be a bit of a platform that people use for stuff like this nowadays. But anyway, this is what it looks like. So maybe this jersey's going to be up for sale. I don't really know. This I thought was pretty funny. Pred doing what he did. Did he not do this to OpTic when he knocked them out of champs, or am I making a mistake and it was actually another series who did this to someone? But yeah, anyway, nonetheless, pretty funny stuff. But we saw Embos gave his thoughts on this OpTic Legacy game and basically said that if it is Ghosts, which it is going to be, they're going to smoke him. OpTic Legacy, if you guys aren't familiar with how it stands, is going to be the OpTic Dynasty roster of Scump, Karma, Crim, and Embos instead of Formal, because he's practicing for the Halo World Championship right now, and it's going to be those 4 on COD Ghost, the OpTic Legacy team, in a show match, a best-of-9 show match to the death against the brand new OpTic Texas roster of course, Pred, Shotzzy, Dashy, and Kenny going forwards. So, how will they fare? It's going to be interesting. Yesterday, Bose was pretty adamant that he doesn't reckon that these boys have got a chance on the OpTic Texas team. They won't have played Ghost. They won't know the ideas and the routes and the strategies like Bose. Well, let's not forget, Bose has one of OpTic's highest ever champs placings because he came top 3, right, at champs that year with OpTic, which is still one of their top ever placings at the World Championship. So, yeah, definitely Bose needs some more respect on his name. But Dashy disagrees with this, right, and is definitely putting his hat in the ring to say, just because they played back then and Crim and Karma won everything back then and Scump was unbelievable back then and even Bose had one of his best years back then, it's not going to matter because they're getting old now, right? They're not as good as they once were. And maybe that's true for Crim, maybe that's true for Karma, maybe that's true slightly for Scump, but I'm not so convinced about it. I think Scump was pretty disgusting. We saw that in the Black Ops 2 tournament most recently. So, yeah, as Dashy says, these old guys think they run boots, but he doesn't expect that to be the case. So Dashy's pretty convinced that they're going to win, and yeah, pretty tough to predict, to be honest, who's going to come out on top of this one. As I said, Pred should be really good at this game, no doubt. Kenny will have played a fair bit of it. And OpTic do a nice little kind of old guard versus new guard comparison here. And, well, there obviously isn't really too much of a contest, right? I mean, between Karma and Crim, they have 58 LAN titles, 6 world titles between them. Obviously, Kenny's got the 1 ring in COD, 9 LANs, 1 between them, 1 for Pred, 8 for Kenny. Maps plays, the roles respectively. So obviously a little bit different, the players you're comparing and the different time periods as well. But a pretty difficult one to call. And I actually saw in the replies that there's some sort of thing that you can make your predictions here, and then you can, there's some giveaway they're doing if you make the prediction. So yeah, from both sides, they're gassing up their own abilities. I'm hoping it's not like a bloodbath, you know, like 5-0 one way or another, like the World Championship Grand Final this year. Hopefully it goes all the way down to the wire. Some sort of, I don't know, freight search and destroy Game 9, beautiful. I'll be there for that for sure. And just to close out with, speaking of Crim actually, the most successful ever duo in terms of average performances in COD history was Crim and Clay. And to be fair, they probably are still right up there, because I would have thought that that brief New York Subliners tenure would have destroyed some of these numbers. Thankfully, it hasn't. Yes, they've got a top 12 here, but, I mean, their numbers are still insane. Average placing of 2.2 at the 19 pro tournaments they've played together. And yes, it didn't end in a great way. Even on Dallas Empire, it didn't end great because Clay got dropped when it went back to 4v4. And then on Subliners, it ended in absolute, you know, shambles, really, with Clay and Crim with all this beef and drama. But still, by the numbers, it's still a very impressive career they've had. And at COD Champs, they're 3-0 together. Although Parasite does reply and says, that's a mid-duo. And yeah, Bregan would kind of violate him and find up the Parasite card from the London Royal Ravens stint that he had at the start of Card War. I do feel kind of bad for Haggy about this, just because he came into this team, he had to fill the gaps, you know, like Parasite ideally would have kind of built the team, worked up from the ground and built a roster around himself. That didn't happen. He had to come in here, didn't win a series, and didn't have the greatest numbers. Did have some good hill time, though. I was the only one trying to win, he says, so kind of throwing a dagger to the rest of his teammates. Tough situation. Sorry for the violation. So we'll leave it there for today. Very much on Twitter, your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.
I'm grinding for Apex Predator and can't have your garbage ass holding me back.
I'm grinding for Apex Predator and can't have your garbage ass holding me back.
Seth, you're fucked up, man.
No,
I just
yours
hopped
is
on
spot
stream
on.
and
Wait
was
till you
excited
come
to
in.
play.
When do I come in?
That's fucked up.
You're coming
Do you
hot.
think I
It's
give
like
3 shits,
midway.
Zinni? I'm trying to win. Plus, I got someone 10 times better than your trash ass.
Oh, yeah, and who the fuck would that be, Abner?
Yo, Zinni, quit whining, dude. Like, dead ass, you're low-key.
Brandon, are you fucking serious? Shouldn't you be playing Valorant? This is fucked up. And you know it, Seth.
Sorry, but it is what it is, Zinni. Brandon has better gunny.
Oh, okay, Seth.
That was
smart
actually
ass.
good.
Who is your third gonna be?
Yo, Zinni, quit fucking whining like dead ass, dude. Shit is annoying.
facts,
My
Speedy,
dope
I
is
seen
chalked
that.
too long.
Every game.
Wait, even Max is kind of good. Yo.
Piper, listening to you and Brandon talk makes me want to fucking rip my ears off. Fuck you, Seth. I'm out.
What the hell is his issue? I'm fucking dying. Shit is comedy.
Dead ass, Zinni was mad as hell. No bullshit. It was checking my dope big time.
No, Zinni was right, Brandon. You sound like an actual retard. I'm getting out.
Damn. Well, I'm gonna go play Halo.
Well, shit, it's true now. No bullshit.
Wait, this was actually good. I'm not gonna lie. This is actually good as fuck. I'm not gonna lie.